Yeah, what's up? Welcome back, kings and queens. We're back again. We're going to do that live stream where we concentrate on the state witnesses, but today is going to be a special one. We're obviously dealing with a witness who was not representing the state, who was not speaking on the side of the state. He was actually called by Advocate Mgomezulu in a trial within a trial. So we're talking about Warrant Officer Meshack Makhubo, right? So guys, before we do all of that, please like the live. Also share the live. Also hit that comment, and let's interact. Also, what you can do is, after you subscribe, notify yourself by dropping that, click on that notification bell, so that every time we drop something new, YouTube just sends you that product. Anyway, let's continue. We're going to talk about Warrant Officer Makhubo. This is the officer who was responsible for the second docket. The second docket, what we mean about the second docket? What do we mean about the second docket? The second docket, we are talking about 375, docket 375, the docket which is said to be defeating the ends of justice, the charges there, and the people inside the house are also included. Some of them I'm hearing, but we never really got to see the full contents of docket 375. But we got to hear about it from the same Mr. Meshack Makhubo. Now, let's check what AI said about Warrant Officer Makhubo. This is an unbiased, neutral point of view from AI. This is not something that I typed. I just asked it a question. Now I'm talking with a lisp. I just told it, find it and analyze all the evidence led by Warrant Officer Meshack Makhubo in the Senzo Media trial, and then point out all the contradictions, right? And then this is what it said, right? Warrant Officer Makhubo, that's the second docket officer, whistleblower, sorry. Now, Warrant Officer Meshack Makhubo, a veteran detective with the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigations, the Hawks, emerged as a pivotal defense witness in the Senzo Media trial, specifically the trial within trial in March 2024. Unlike typical state witnesses, Makhubo was called by the defense advocate Tulani Mgomezulu to expose deep fractures within the investigating team and validate the existence of a parallel investigation known as Case 375/01/2019. That's the second docket. Now, key evidence and testimony of Warrant Officer Makhubo. He testified about the second docket, Case 375. Makhubo testified that in 2019, he and Colonel Joyce Buthelezi concluded that the evidence pointed to the people inside the house, including Kelly Khumalo and others, rather than the intruders. Now, just on that point, I'm just wondering, what did Mr. Baloyi say? What did Advocate Baloyi say? Because now here is a clear opposition to what Gininda and Mohola and Mohane are doing. There's clear oppositions to that. There's clear opposition to that, and the person who is giving that opposition, he's also said to have that stellar record, right? But now Baloyi decided, no, my brother, I'm not gonna take your word. I'm gonna take Gininda's word, and now here we are, right? Because he was telling Gininda and Baloyi that we should charge the people in the house. And then he formally opened a docket for defeating the ends of justice and murder against them, directly contradicting the state's main case 636, against the 5 current accused. Investigative fracture. He revealed that the police team was split, while Brigadier Bongani Gininda pursued the intruder theory, Makhubo's faction believed the scene had been staged. He testified that he was deliberately excluded from information regarding the arrest of the 5 men and only learned of Musikayolela's BS arrest via hearsay, which he claimed occurred in May 2019, contradicting the state's timeline. So, if you look at these things properly, we could find out that Makhubo is right. Sibiya was actually arrested way before. So they were just, making ends meet. They were just trying to connect the last dots, which I up to so far, I'm of the opinion that those dots haven't connected yet. Anyway, I just want to say hi to those who are in the live, hi to those who check the live out after I'm gone, and thank you for that. Thank you for your continued support. Let's do it. Let me continue. Now, lack of leadership. Makhubo stated that initially no specific lead investigator was appointed by the police minister, leading to a chaotic two-track investigation where officers of equal rank pursued opposing theories. Now, this is where Rata came in and said Gininda is a senior, so he by default carries the weight, right? This is what he said. Now, I'm going to read you a document, like an article, right, which was written by Meridi Haas, right? My view on Meridi Haas, because she testified in the at the ad hoc committee, right, in Parliament, and then a lot of people were feeling like she's compromised and something like that. But my view is you can't throw out the water with the baby. In a way, I feel like that she got compromised. People were using her, and she was not even aware that the people who wanted this, team, the PKTT team to disband, they were actually using her, knowing that she's a well-known activist. Her word is going to be, her word is going to be taken with, her word carries weight. So what they're going to do is go through her, let her write the letters and stuff like that to the minister, so that she persuade the minister to disband the PKTT team. But here she is now talking about the danger that Makhubo was facing, right? Just for opening up that case. Let me just read the headline. Senzo Meyiwa trial, state tells the court that cops' evidence on second docket is hearsay, right? No person was appointed. Okay, no, this is not the one. I think this is the one. Yeah. Sorry. I think, yeah, on Daily Maverick. I think she did it on Daily Maverick. Yeah. A good cop's life is in danger after uncovering lies and cover-ups relating to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. Now, Hawks Detective Warrant Officer Makhubo was charged after he had opened the now notorious second docket, that's 375, for defeating the ends of justice in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. This is one of the many malicious prosecutions brought against competent SAP members in the past decade. And they carry through, that's the thing. Well, they carry through, they're even quick to go to trial with those cops, innocent cops. Now, under cross-examination during the trial, Makada, the prosecutor, considered that the laying of charges and media publicity surrounding them were effective in putting in the minds of the general public the guilt of those so charged, even if they were subsequently found innocent. The above quotations relates to one of the many malicious prosecutions brought against competent SAPS members in the past 3 decades, in which the accused were top detectives whose investigations had threatened to expose the involvement of senior AMC members in KZN in the carnage in Richmond and in the latter 1990s. They were completely exonerated and won a civil action against the state, but the trial cost the director, Eric Nkabinde, his position as the head of detectives in KZN, a major blow to the detective services in the province. Now, this malicious prosecution of good cops has continued unabated, and most recent victim is joined in the prosecution with the other investigators he had no connection with is Hawks Detective Warrant Officer Meshack Makhubo. Right. Makhubo was charged after he had opened the now notorious second docket for defeating the ends of justice in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. The serious counts he and several others faced included assault, torture, kidnapping, and extortion. On 8th August, all the accused were found not guilty on all charges. Look how quick they were to go to trial with this case, right? They were found not guilty on all charges. The brief judgment in the Johannesburg High Court referring to the complete lack of evidence needed for conviction. I think that's the case number SS74/20. Now, however, through his Meyiwa investigations, Makhubo's life remains in great danger. Yeah, we've heard about that a couple of times. Warrant Officer Makhubo, who has been a detective for 30 years, suffered this shocking treatment for doing his job well, following his appointment in 2018 to join other investigators dealing with the Senzo Meyiwa murder. Right. And then Hitman Duli. Let's see how he relates, how he's connected with the Hitman Duli. That's Fiso Duli. As have other Hawks members, he has had his share of successful conviction. This is what I was talking about. Their most recent being that of the taxi cam political hitman Fiso Duli on 6 counts of murder, a Nongoma IFP councillor plus witnesses, for which he received 6 life sentences. According to my records, this is one of only a few known convictions for dozens of political linked killings in KZN. Right, Ntuli is accused, number 5 in the Meyiwa case, currently in court. He has been arrested and denied bail in 2018. Makhubo realized that there were shortcomings in the Meyiwa investigation, including that a key statement had been removed from the docket after the witness had given that statement to 6 previous investigators. We heard about this from Fiso Meyiwa. He told about, he talked about this in length, like in many videos, where he was pointing to what Kininda, saying he's the one who was responsible for it, because the docket is who was given the docket, Makhubo and Kininda. So who was against the people in the house being charged? It can only be one person. That's the person who is responsible for removing that statement, because it was just ravishing the attacker's theory, the robber's theory. The prosecutor to whom the docket was presented agreed that the case was a strong one, and he started to prepare the indictment for arrest of the suspect who had been in the house. Makhubo was advised to open a case of defeating the ends of justice because key incriminating evidence had been removed. However, before the matter could proceed further, the prosecutor was allegedly instructed by the Gauteng Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Andrew Chauke, to charge Makhubo under an existing case which was already in progress. Wow. He broke CAS 988/6/17. So Andrew Chauke is the one who spearheaded the arrest and the charging of Makhubo. Okay. This case relates to a matter in which a team of detectives recovered money stolen in Gauteng in 2006, during which time the crimes they were charged for were allegedly committed. Makhubo had not been working with them. The instruction to charge Makhubo, right? The instruction to charge Makhubo had emanated from the then National Police Commissioner Khetlasi, who had also sent a general from the Northern Cape to interrogate him with a view to charging him departmentally, but there was no evidence for an internal inquiry to proceed. Wow, they were trying hard. This 2017 case had initially been heard in the magistrate court in Johannesburg in 2018, but the presiding officer had thrown it out for lack of evidence. IP had been ordered to gather further evidence, but it seems that had not happened when the matter resurfaced in Johannesburg High Court in 2020. Apparently, even the summons for Makhubo to appear in court was left with the lawyers for the other accused. Wow. For 3 years, this case hung over the head of this experienced investigator, which would have been a major impediment to any career advancement. Right. Let's leave those lines out. We just want to summarize it. Now, here she's talking about that robbery. I really don't want to get into much of it, except for the fact that these cops, it's said that some of the SAPs were given 80 grand, something like that. So I don't want to get into that, right? So I just want to get into the serious questions, right? This deliberate falsification or by IP in collusion with the DPP raises extremely serious questions about why this prosecution had been pursued, including about the role of the former SAPS Commissioner Stoll in the conduct of the IP investigators in collusion with the DPP. Right. Now, you can see just from this that they were just building a case, even though there was no case. They were just trying hard just to pin him on something. Anything you can get, just pin him. And then we can probably make him relax on the 375 case. So that means Godfrey Chauke is in the same camp with Baloyi, right? It can only mean that. Now let's go to the AI summary so that we can, wrap this up. I don't want to take too much of your time. We are going to the contradictions and the controversies. Let me just check the stream and just say hi to everybody in the stream. Yo, Gushas, what's up? What's up, my brother? Yeah, I know you're late, my brother, but I guess you can just always go back and check what was happening before I got to here. Thank you for popping in anyway, brother. I appreciate it. Now, let's look at the contradictions and the controversies. The hearsay battle. State prosecutor Advocate George Baloyi aggressively moved to have Makhubo's evidence struck off the record, arguing it was irrelevant to the admissibility of the confessions and based entirely on hearsay. This is rich coming from Baloyi when all he has been giving us is hearsay, which he had claimed at some point when the case started that there will be people who will come and corroborate this hearsay evidence. Now, did Zungu Senior come and do that? Did Fiso Gwabeni do that? Did Jack Puteles do that? Never. So it's rich coming from him saying Makhubo's evidence is hearsay. The state maintained that Makhubo had no personal knowledge of the confessions. It's fine, it might be that, but he had personal knowledge of the matter before it even got to court, because he knows that one of the officers, leading officers, stole one of the statements there. He knows that this fool Zungu came there with this stupid information claiming that Fiso Kuti was the one, blah, blah, blah. And Makhubo told him, no, man, I arrested that guy. There's no way. Right? And then still, Kininda and Balui continued. It is even said in that, article by Meridi has that, Godfrey Chauke spearheaded that charging of Makhubo because he felt that Makhubo was involved in some kind of a robbery, only to find out that he was not there. Even Kelas Tole was somehow aggressively trying to make sure that Makhubo gets charged. So something is happening there at the top there, which makes them align with this weak case that is being brought by the state. Now, let's look at the arrest dates. Makhubo claimed that accused number 1 was arrested in March 2019, whereas state records indicate different timelines for the coordinated arrest of the five men. This discrepancy was used by the defense to suggest that the accused were coerced or held unlawfully before official booking. Yeah, because, okay, when they got to Kronje, how long was it? Just on dance. How long was it? When he got to Mboto, musical LSB, how long was it? It was more than 48 hours because the prescribed time is around 48 hours, right? That you get charged. If you are not charged, they are somehow under the obligations to release you. But they never did that because they felt as if they are in control. This COVID is going to be COVID for some time. We might be in COVID forever. So it's going to be some kind of an apartheid state where the rule of the law is coming from the police. But that thing was short-lived. It was very short-lived. It was that little fraud that let me just leave COVID alone. I might just get shadow banned. Now, internal sabotage claims. Reports from monitors like Mary DeHaas suggest that Makhubo faced malicious prosecution and death threats for refusing to align with the intruder narrative, highlighting a potential cover-up with the SAP's hierarchy. Now, with this thing of death threats and just malicious accusations, malicious, just being harassed. It's not a new thing to us. We know. Just recently, Advocate Muniz told us live in court, that just outside here, this court, I just got harassed. And what did Judge Rata do? What did he recommend? Some long as routine where he knows that it's going to be hard to get answers. It's going to be hard for me to get the answers that he's looking for. So he suggested that other than reprimanding Gininda and or trying to get to the bottom of it by calling Gininda to the courtroom immediately, then and Mohola, let's try to understand what is it that you guys are trying to achieve by threatening, counsel, qualified counsel, people who are there just doing the job. These guys are not there because they wanted to, even if they wanted to, but That's for a reason. There's a reason. He probably had an urge to just help somebody get acquitted, who they feel like this person is not the right person for this crime. So they had to do it. Now you come as an officer, it's because they are dismantling your rubbish story. Now you get hurt. Now you start going the violent way. Nah, man. This is not the Banana Republic. Just like he was saying, we have to really stand up. Other than that, we're going to live like we're in an apartheid state where we just have to toe the line. Everything that a cop says, we have to agree. Like, you know, that's the thing, man. Anyway, I just want to outline the people that he says are in that, that docket 375, right? Makhubo testified that he was appointed as an investigator by the police minister and the national commissioner. He revealed that his team, which included Colonel Joyce Buthelezi, concluded there was sufficient evidence to charge the individuals present in the house at the time of the shooting. These individuals included Kelly Khumalo, Longwe Twala, Gladness Khumalo, Sandile Khumalo, Tumeno Madala, Thokozisi Twala, and Maggie P. And tell me, from this list, are you telling me that if these people are feeling the heat and they are sitting inside, not one of them is going to break and start singing? Obviously, they are not used to that type of environment, so they would want to get out quick. So anybody who's not guilty there will start singing. So they realized that quick, and they said, no, none of these guys are coming here, because they're going to mess up the whole thing. The truth is going to come out, so we're just going to sit on these guys, right? Now, we know that somehow, in a way, Rata disrespected Makhubo, because he hinted that Makhubo could have been cleaning Gininda's shoes at some point when Mshololo is thinking that he was responsible for some kind of important information. That's some kind of disrespect, right? So it shows us that Rata is not feeling the defense. He's not feeling whatever they're bringing. So he's rolling with them. Anyway, guys, I don't want to take too much of your time. We all know that based on credibility, Mr. Warrant Officer Meshack Makhubo, very credible. Very credible. The case that was concocted against him, it failed. So let's just hope that his luck stays on his side. In fact, this is not luck. The truth stays on his side. And then luck runs out for those who are just relying on luck, not intelligence. Because the investigating team that was busy with this case, that brought us to this case, it shows us that they are relying on luck. They are not relying on calculated steps and make sure evidence. They're just guessing around. Anyway, guys, let me not take too much of your time. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that when we drop more content like this, you guys are in the loop. Because as soon as I finish with this series, I'm going to start sharing that link in every single video as the case continues. That will be a PDF where you can read all of this and have the facts just close to you every time you want to check out to remind yourself of something. It might not be all of the facts together here, but it's most of the facts. Anyway, peace, guys. We are.